Hello, I'm Mohsen Jamal and you watch Afghan News. At least 14 people, including foreign forces, were killed when a Taliban car bomber struck a U.S.-run NATO convoy traveling through the Afghan capital Kabul on Saturday. The attacker detonated his Toyota sedan car at 11:20 a.m. local time in the southwest of the city, said Kabul police spokesman Hashmat Sanagzai. A Western military official speaking on condition of anonymity said that the attack targeted an American NATO base, killing 10 or 11 people, mostly Americans. A spokesman for the Interior Ministry, Sadiq Sadiqi, said that 3 civilians and a policeman had also been killed, but he had no information on foreign forces. A spokesman for NATO's International Security Assistance Force said the force could not give further details until further information had been gathered. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack. Meanwhile, NATO says a man wearing an Afghan military uniform has turned his weapon on coalition and Afghan troops in the country's south, killing 2 members of the U.S.-led coalition. The coalition says the shooter also was killed in the incident Saturday in southern Afghanistan while on their way to training. The nationalities of those killed were not disclosed, and the coalition did not provide any other details about the shooting. But Zahir Azimi, the spokesman for the Afghan army, said the 2 dead individuals were Australian soldiers. Unconfirmed reports say that at least 7 others were injured in the shooting, which took place in Uruzgan province. Elsewhere, Afghan police say a female suicide bomber has blown herself up as she tried to attack a local government office in the capital of Kunar province. Deputy Provincial Police Chief Abdul Sabur Alayar says the guards outside the government's intelligence office in Asadabad became suspicious of the woman and started shooting, at which point she detonated her explosives. There were no other casualties in Saturday's attack. A source who spoke on condition of anonymity said that a second female suicide bomber has fled the area and security forces are looking for her. Afghan and US-led coalition forces conducted operations earlier this month, killing more than 100 insurgents in an effort to curb violence in rugged areas of Kunar, where the coalition and Afghan government have a light footprint. Even as the United States begins to withdraw from Afghanistan, insurgents abetted by Pakistan pose a major threat to US-led forces, the Pentagon said on Friday. Security has improved in recent months and enemy attacks are down in Afghanistan compared to a year ago, the Pentagon said in a twice-annual report to the US Congress. NATO and Afghan forces largely stunted the Taliban's spring and summer offensive, although the insurgency remains adaptive and resilient with a significant regenerative capacity, the report said. But attacks from across the eastern border were up because of the support the insurgency received from safe havens in Pakistan. It said, adding that these havens have grown more virulent in recent months and are the most significant risk to NATO's campaign. The report comes as President Barack Obama's administration has begun pulling surge forces from Afghanistan, withdrawing 10,000 this year and the remaining 23,000 by the end of September 2012. A number of anti-government insurgents, including a group commander of the Haqqani network, have been detained in eastern Afghan provinces on Friday night, a statement of NATO-led International Security Assistance Force has claimed. The statement said on Saturday that Afghan and ISAF troops, during a joint operation in Nadir Shah Kot district of eastern Kunar Khost province, captured a commander of Haqqani network and several other militants on Friday, but did not reveal the name of the arrested commander or the possible casualties the troops suffered during the operations. In similar operations, several more insurgents were arrested in Khogyani district of the eastern Nangarhar province on Friday, the statement added. Meanwhile, insurgents attacked a convoy of Afghan and international troops on Friday in the eastern Shinwar district of Nangarhar province on Friday, sparking a gun battle that left about 30 militants dead, NATO said. The joint Afghan international force called for air support during the firefight, the US-led coalition in Afghanistan said. The leaders of Turkey, Afghanistan and Pakistan will attend the 6th summit on Afghanistan in Istanbul on November 1st under the chairmanship of Turkish President Abdullah Gül. The summit will focus on means of boosting security cooperation between Islamabad and Kabul, according to sources. Turkey will also host a regional conference on Afghanistan on November 2nd in Istanbul to to be chaired by Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu. The Istanbul conference is intended to chart Afghanistan's security future, with the US-led NATO mission already locked into troop drawdowns that are scheduled to bring all foreign combat troops home by 2014. The conference is scheduled to be attended by US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, will also highlight the reconstruction of Afghanistan. As the USA advocates dialogue with the Afghan Taliban, the terror outfit has said that the peace talks cannot be held unless Washington abandons its dual-faced policies on Afghanistan. Afghan Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid has told a Pakistani newspaper that on the one hand, the USA talks about pursuing peace dialogue, but on the other, it is seeking to establish permanent military bases in Afghanistan. While asking Washington to abandon its dual-faced policies on Afghanistan, Mujahid said that the USA is seeking Pakistan's help to negotiate with the Taliban, but at the same time, it is pressuring Islamabad to fight the Haqqani network in North Waziristan, adding that unless the United States shows its commitment to peace talks, dialogue is not possible. On Thursday, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton told the U.S. House Committee on Foreign Relations that any Afghan-led peace process would have to include the Quetta Shura, the Afghan Taliban leadership based in the southwestern Pakistani city, and its leader Mullah Umar. Earlier this week, the Hizb Islami, led by Bulletin Hekmatyar, showed its willingness for peace talks with the United States, but Mujahid said he could not comment on Hizb Islami's remarks as it is a separate organization. The number of Afghan refugees returning home has dropped substantially this year, with some 60,000 repatriating in the first 10 months compared to more than 100,000 over the same period in 2010, the United Nations Refugee Agency reported on Friday. Adrian Edwards, a spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, told a news conference in Geneva, Switzerland, that the lack of livelihood opportunities and shelter, as well as insecurity, are the most frequently cited reasons for not returning. This year's returnees included 43,000 from Pakistan, about 17,000 from Iran, less than 100 from other countries, according to UNHCR. Meanwhile, Pakistani Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani Saturday urged the world community to help shift around 3 million Afghan refugees residing in Pakistan back to their country. Speaking at a news conference, Gilani said that the world seems to have forgotten the plight of millions of Afghans who are living in shanties and camps in Pakistan, and added that Afghan refugees need to go back and the relief centers have to be in Afghanistan. International Criminal Court prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo said on Saturday that Saif al-Islam, son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, is in touch with the ICC and is claiming to be innocent. The court based in The Hague has said it made informal contact with Gaddafi's fugitive son and is seeking to arrest him and bring him to trial on charges stemming from Libya's civil war. Moreno Ocampo in the Chinese capital said the contacts were through intermediaries and that Saif al-Islam maintained his innocence and wanted to understand what could happen to him if cleared of charges. However, surrender is not the only option for the 39-year-old who has friends among desert tribes in Niger, Mali, and other poor former French colonies in West Africa, the allies traditionally providing close security for the Gaddafis. Moreno Ocampo is in Beijing for the third session of the International Forum on Crime and Criminal Law in the Global Era. Arab foreign ministers have urged the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to stop the bloodshed in his country after activists said 44 people were killed on Friday. The ministers said that the Arab Ministerial Committee expressed its rejection of the continued killings of civilians in Syria and expressed its hope that the Syrian government will take the necessary measures to protect them. Arab ministers are due to meet Syrian officials on Sunday in the Qatari capital Doha. Meanwhile, anti-government rallies were held in many Syrian cities and towns on Friday, with protesters calling for international protection in a no-fly zone. Elsewhere, a defecting army officer who has taken refuge in Turkey, Colonel Riyad al-Assad, claims to have established an opposition armed forces called the Syrian Free Army, but its strength and numbers are unknown. And that officials from Al-Nahda, Tunisia's newly elected moderate Islamist party, have announced the intentional the intention to form a coalition government within the next 10 days. Party Secretary General Hamadi Jebeli said on Friday that Al-Nahda had begun talks with other parties on forming a coalition government, and the priority in the talks would be reviving the country's economy. The party's leader Rachid Ghanauchi said his party would honor an undertaking to finish writing a new constitution within 1 year. In Sunday's national election, Al-Nahda won 41.5% of the votes and took 90 seats in the assembly that will rewrite the constitution and appoint a president and a caretaker government. That's all for now. Thanks for staying with us.